purpose, vision. And that's the guiding star that now I have clarity and transparency with my business operation where I'm heading out to. Whereas before, I am lost because there's a lot of options and I don't know who to cut, how to cut it. And I was a lot of messy crossroads. And there's nobody around me that I can discuss, have this high scope of intellectual conversation with. And I think that's where you and what you bring is so powerful. Of course, we can discuss the business aspect. You have a full capacity in that regard. But what I really need is the step before that. And thank you for helping me find and define myself and have clarity and right now have peace at it.
Hi folks, welcome back to Boom Vision. Today's guest is my childhood friend, Mickey Liu. From starting his career as a creative artist to becoming a serial entrepreneur, Mickey shares his journey on how his life came full circle in finding his true north. You'll definitely want to tune in. Let's cue the intro. Welcome to the Boom Vision podcast. I am your host, Benjamin Ye. This show is about giving you the perspectives and framework on how to gain clarity and unlock your hidden breakthroughs. It's time for you to live an extraordinary life that you design. Let's get to work. Your mind is like this water, my friend. When it is agitated, it becomes difficult to see. But if you allow it to settle, the answer becomes clear. That movie quote is by Wu Gui in the animated movie Kung Fu Panda. Hi folks, welcome to episode 10 of the Boom Vision podcast. Today's show, we're going to hear an entrepreneur's personal journey on how he started his career, immersing himself as a creative artist, how his life pivoted when he became an entrepreneur, and how it evolved in the past few months when we reconnected. I'm excited to share today's episode because I interview a childhood friend that I literally haven't spoken to in the past 20 plus years. Very similar to my friend Jonathan in episode 8. It's really funny what the universe brings into your life. Ever since I started Boom Vision, I've somehow attracted people with similar vibrations and life paths. In terms of Mickey's bio, Mickey Liu is a creative business strategist with a multi-disciplinary skill set in the realm of building brands and companies. His career has evolved from exiting 2 of the 5 companies he created to currently running a sustainable apparel production company with strong growth. Mickey's mission and core values are helping positive, intentioned entrepreneurs expand their business landscape. He accomplishes this as a business coach, working side by side with entrepreneurs and helping them gain clarity in their business venture with his unique strategic mind map that connects personal goals, life goals, and business vision. His passion project is a YouTube channel called Dreams Bloomer, a show dedicated to sharing tools, insights, mindset, and mini stories designed with 4 quadrants of a career journey. Intention behind Dreams Bloomer is to help 1. College students feeling lost and directionless. 2. New working professionals that haven't found their place at work. 3. Seasoned corporate professionals that want to do freelance and project management. And last but not least, 4. Driven professionals eager to break out and start their own business. So without further ado, here's Mickey Liu. Mickey, welcome to the Boom Vision podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, it's likewise. It's awesome to be here. And I'm excited to talk about some of the things we were about to disclose or, discuss over with.
Awesome. Yeah, so I guess starting off, Mickey, love to hear your origin story. I mean, I've known you since actually childhood, but, for my audience that don't know you, can you share a little bit about your origin story, what you've been doing in the last couple of decades, and where you are now?
Right. I immigrated from Taiwan, where I was born when I was 10 to the States in LA. And basically from there, I was probably the first group of immigrants in the city full of white folks called San Marino. And then I really felt the first time ever what stereotype is. maybe not exactly racism, but a glimpse of that, like I was feeling it. And I wasn't exactly welcome in that city or in the school system that I was in. So the first couple of years was troublesome. Besides the fact that I speak no English, I don't even know the 26 alphabets. And so communication and try to get thoughts out of my mind was terribly hard and harsh at times. And so growing up, I guess coming from a low ground, growing, I think it really taught me a huge lesson to like really fight for yourself and try to be authentic as much as you can. And later on, then I realized that comes at a great cost, but I'll share that later. And as I was growing up, there was the expectation from parents where, Asian parents, like, you're a doctor, lawyer, or business person that they want you to ultimately become. Especially my mom, who was a successful business person. And so she ultimately wanted me to go to USC for business, which I kind of lied because I was in a spot where I had slight depression at the time because I was brought up in sort of like a military boot camp, like family raising setting. My mom was working hard. She had to travel back and forth in Taiwan and LA, and I seldom get to see her. So there's not much of the interaction in terms of, mother son type of love or support. Yeah, there's financial support, that's supporting the family. I had a stepdad, and that's where it was really troublesome growing up there because his upraising was pretty harsh. So the only way he knew how was passing all that on to me. And so to give you a scenario, we're eating in a dinner table. I had to sit one third of the seats, sit up straight, and I cannot make any sound with chewing or drinking soup off a teaspoon, just anything like that. Or I get the death stare. And there's a lot of these, I guess, mental breakdown that I have because I just didn't like the family that I'm raised in, the house. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. And often I want to like stay in school and I don't want to go home. And so as a teenager, that kind of bothers me for quite a long time. Then I realized, oh, shoot, I have this suicidal tendency. Like I would come home, sit in this spiral chair, but I would heads up, stare at the ceiling for like 4 to 5 hours, not moving.
Wow.
And it really tells you like how empty my soul or my mental state is at that time. When I get to see my mom after maybe half a year and I say, Mom, I feel something wrong with me. Could you take me to a doctor? I didn't know what kind of doctor, but it's supposed to be like a shrink or something. And she's like, no, how can you be sick? You have everything you wanted. You have a credit card. You can swipe and get what you need. You have abundance of things. And I was like, that's not really answering my question. So then I felt there was that generational gap. Traditional Asian family, and they maybe regain their wealth through hard work, but they don't have the other type of discipline and education to really know the other spectrum of life. And in LA, I think freedom of speech, the kind of education, that surrounding helped me shape my character. In a way, the sensitivity of my character, I realized there's a part of me that's shouting out that needs to be heard, but that wasn't heard and wasn't answered. Also, fast forward, like I lied to my mom saying, hey, I applied to USC business. Yep, I am going to apply, but I didn't. I actually applied to an art school because at the time, basketball was my outlet, physical outlet. Like I would get bruised up, beat up, and so the pain, physical pain, helped me ease the sort of like the depression symptom that I had. So, but I know I don't have exactly a career. I'm short, 5'7", lightweight. There's no way. So other train of thought is, okay, I gotta find something but I don't want to walk the path that was set out for me by my parents. There's gotta be other way. So I went to this library and I look up this big fat dictionary books, and it's literally got tens of thousands of different job titles. And I started looking up, I started jotting down, and by 4 to 5 hours after, I only have like 5 things down. And of the list, I picked like art. And because I felt like that I somehow connected with, that instinct said, that's maybe the direction. But to give you a side note, even in art class, my grade is a C. Like I'm not good at it, I'm not great at it, and I don't work hard at it. And so once I decided, I realized, okay, I'm gonna put the hard work, the sweat equity in, and within one summer, I basically jumped like 5 level from the lowest art class to AP art, and that's like our teacher at the time was surprised. And for me, I feel like, wow, all my life, I've never had some sort of glory, some sort of pride, some sort of praise. And only then I realized, wow, through hard work, I actually have earned something for the first time in my life. And I've been 17 years old at the time. And it feels good. And I want to captivate that feeling and I want to keep going with. So I become like really mad, insane, like a drug addict at it, in terms of art, geeking out, drawing, laboring over it. It would be like a science textbook, but after that will be hidden like another art book, and then there lay on the table will be my sketchbook. And I don't even care and budge. My senior year, my grade went down to drain. I just want to draw. I want to get good at it because that feeling is so amazing. And that's also the first taste of like me as a person through hard work and sort of craftsmanship. It's improving daily through hard work, perseverance. And that's something I never felt. And yes, I finally got in this art school. My mom was mad, but finally accepted it. And I went on. And fast forward the art career, it's been amazing. There's a couple stages where I'll go over really quickly. First stage is when I was in school. It takes people 2.5 to 3 years to graduate. It took me 6 years. The reason is because we could take a term off and do something else and then come back and take a term and then a term off. And that's exactly what I did. The term off is for me to work. And so I can take the skill set that I learned in school and try to cope with the trend of the marketplace, the demand of the art industries, etc. So I'm not scared going into the system that, whatever I've learned and trained, by the time I get out, I don't get a job because the trend is elsewhere. It's something else. And also because of that, the money I made, I would love to travel. And so during that time, I've backpacked to Europe for 4 weeks with 2 other art friends. I've traveled like 30 something countries and went to all the galleries and museums and raided all the art bookstores that I could find. A mini story is we're as crazy as going through Europe, and at the final destination of the airport, I had 500 pounds worth of books with me.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That just tell you like my dedication to art
Right.
at the time, being like a super art geek, geeking out with the artist, gallery, museum, art books, whatever resource that I felt contribute to my growth. I'll go at no cost to reinvest into myself. And that's why it took me 6 years instead of 2.5 or 3. And during the time, I had the fun of working at a lot of different jobs, working at Britney Spears music video, like backgrounds, Disney's dinosaur animation. So it's from video games, movies, animations. I dabble in a few of the projects just so that I can feel out and know that from my own personality, what are the fitment? Do I like it or I hate it? Because I feel like you need to experience it to be able to say yes or no, to have a say in it instead of imagine, oh, that sounds terrible. No, and I feel that won't do me justice. So be a practitioner is what I believe in. And so after that, because I was working so much, so that's been, let's say, 7 years in, I got carpal tunnel. So, because I was drawing, I would say 18 to 20 hours, 22 hours a day. Yes, you heard
Holy
that right.
cow.
That's about 2 hours of sleeping time.
Yeah.
And I could stay awake and draw for 3 days straight. Secret sauce is chew coffee bean, Red Bull plus Coke. And that three combination, you will stay awake. And so I was so crazy that the whole school knows that Mickey, the crazy dude, would literally pass out in the hallway, and I would just lie there and sleep. And you literally can walk across my body because I was passed out, and I don't budge. All I see is art and trying to improve, be a better version. And I gotta say, there is a Zen place. I was in a Zen place. There's a purity in it. Until the second phase, which I'm about to share, is this. I got sick because I couldn't draw. I had to rest. By doctors say 2 years. I was like, what am I gonna do in this 2 years of time? And so I got called by my mom, say, hey, son, why don't you come back out to Taiwan and hang out with mommy? I miss you. At that time, I've been sort of just living on my own, and there's divorce already, so I'm alone in LA by myself in this house full of art supplies, sculptures, and paintings and whatnot. And it's very interesting that once I got back, my mom sent me to this company that does intangible asset appraisement by my cousin. And that's the very first time that I actually understand there is a thing called business, and that's tied to art and design. And that also broke my heart knowing that there's only about 2 to 7% of importance in terms of what I spend and devote my life, up to that point, crafting to getting better in the business industry, in that whole scope.
Hmm.
And I started to doubt myself. What am I doing? I work so hard, but Jesus, my offering, it doesn't feel like people value it very much, at least in a pure business type of transaction projects. It's a very foundation. It's a very important foundation, but somehow the society doesn't quite view that as the core. Okay, that's fine. And while I was in Taiwan, I was sort of investigating and exploring my homeland. And then I found out, oh my God, in LA, we're taught to design and have ideation concept to create intellectual properties. But somehow we don't know how to make that into product. And I found in Asia, all the manufacturing is there. And they get to realize your imagination into a physical item. That's so exciting. That opens a new door. And because of that, I decided to say, since I can draw that much, maybe I'll sort of switch. And because I want to learn, right? And I continue learning how to be a graphic designer, a product designer, how to do product management, production, logistics, wholesale, etc., etc. And that's the second phase of my life where I started a company called INNO International. It's seeking to be a bridge connecting from Taiwan, or actually Asia's factory manufacturing resources, to LA, all these brilliant creators. At least that's what I thought. And that went great. I've worked with 300 artists, designers globally during these 7 years I had run my company. And sadly, 2008, that all came to a sudden end because the financial crisis hit. And I took such a big hit that, to give it a little scope, it's for like half a year, I have no email coming in, no phone call coming in. It's just straight silent. And the bill that's supposed to be paid were not paid. The products is out at all these distribution networks, such as like Urban Outfitter. Nope, not paid. So I have no cash coming in. I cannot sell all these so-called pop culture items because these kids, they got their money from mommies, right? Mommies don't have jobs, not gonna get the kids to buy stuff. So I was in a terrible place, and I was in in a dark place, I gotta say. And I don't know how to get out. And I try to survive. I would rent like a truck And I would pull these merchandises out. I would go swap meet, flea market, lay out the tarp, lay it all, do junkyard sale. I do everything I can because I feel I'm responsible for the operation. It's all on me. Yeah, that didn't fail. And of course, the depression hit again and hit pretty hard. I didn't want to see anybody, any friends, didn't want to go out, was locked in my room for a month. Yep, and my angel came again. That was my mom. She sort of realized I'm not in such a great spot. So what she did is she's like, "Hey son, I rent out this place. I want to celebrate grandma. She passed away as a tribute to her, and I want to form this sort of gallery decor-ish place that sells paintings and a lot of decoration-ish items like vase, frames, stuff you decorate your house with." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." And you have 2.5 weeks to do that. I was like, what? 2 weeks? You have like empty space, you have nothing, and you're opening up in 2.5 weeks, and I'm in LA and you're in Taiwan. All right, so I put in the works. I go to Rose Bowl Parade. I went to a bunch of places, talked to a lot of my former friends, and dig through their garage and buy out their old paintings. And some I carry with me. I pay extra luggage. Some I air cargo, some ocean cargo. And after a week and a half, I flew back. And then within a week, I did really light remodeling, put the floor, put the air condition, designed the sign, put the signage up. And then the stuff, I started to decorate the place. I installed the surveillance, just get it up running. And yes, 2.5 weeks, I did it.
Wow.
And because everything's so rushed, well, first of all, it's like a little test of my ability or collectively ability at the time. And also, it's a way for me to get away from a setting environment where everything is sad, mountains of merchandise, responsibility. So I did that, and the second time I went back, I literally I just clean everything out and I rent the house out, and I moved back for good. And now, okay, I'm in a new place. Now there's this cultural shock. You got to say that I am sort of U.S. Educated, and in Asia, they may speak the same thing, but there's a lot of underlying tonality in the culture and what they're saying that I don't pick up. I was raised straightforward, and I don't fit in. Just to be upfront, I don't fit in. And they look at me like an oddball, and I look at them like, why don't you just say what's on your mind? Gosh, why so complicated? And that's the learning with opening a gallery. You have like just moms and pops coming in. I get to learn what they're thinking. I have like, oh my God, they just don't care about art. They want like pirated, or they imagine pirated stuff. And I was like, okay, that's gotta be something else. And so I just push again, and I say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go on it, move on with it, but I gotta do something else. Now I'm in this new place. And of the previous company, I worked with 300 artists in Taiwan. Of the batch of artists and designers, I picked one. His name's Kia, K-E-A. And we partnership with, and I started to do like a streetwear clothing brand with him. And that did really well. It was selling in 4 countries: Japan, Hong Kong, China, and Taiwan. 60-something outlets, distribution network. And I had a design agency, and we actually rebrand like pro baseball team, theme parks, $1 billion like theme parks, etc. And we done really well in that 2 aspect. And then my partner was a fine artist, so I've been helping him build his brand and build his operation. So life was really busy, was really good. Yet I was sort of working at 3 jobs, 3 companies at one time. So again, workaholic again, no sleep again. I sleep at the couch at the company, don't get to go home maybe 3-4 days a week. Monday to Sunday, no birthday, no holiday, no movies, no friends. Wow, sounds all familiar again, right? So it tells you that, as humans, we are constantly go back to that habitual behavior, that repeating behavior. And so I was like, oh my God, my body is going in bad shape. I am not working out, not playing ball, not doing what makes me happy. And so I decided, okay, you know what? I'm gonna cut the gallery out because that takes a lot of my time and I don't get a lot of joy out from it. It just so that my mom is happy, to pay tribute to my grandma and make my mom happy. But it's not my life. And so I decided to cut that out of the whole cycle of busyness. And then at the time, I got another job offer from a friend who introduced Riot Games that they need manufacturing for apparel. So I switched that time slot with another company. So again, I still run three operation. Ouch. I guess this is when I had the most important person in my life, which is my second girlfriend, now my wife. She's Japanese. Her name is Shizuko. She actually talked reason in my logic-based brain, like what living the moment, enjoy life is all about. And that took a lot of confrontation, a lot of argument, because she's a lot more spiritual, listen to the mind, to the soul. I am not. I'm about task. I am about business. Like you are not value to me. Get the F out. Right? I am there. And so you can imagine like two complete opposite sides. Yes, opposite do attract because I admire a lot of quality of her that I do not have. And I gotta say, she saved my life. And so when we get married, a couple of years in, she asked me, "Do you want to have kids?" I was like still business, right? I said yes, I want it, but deep down, I was like, how the hell can I do that? I'm so busy. So we had a long talk, and I decided, okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna cut two of my companies, and I cut the streetwear clothing brand. I cut the design agency because that takes 87% of my time, and I decided to keep this one so I could raise kids and have a solid family. Now, again, I guess like every entrepreneur is that, wow, how about, the salary? How about the good bonuses? How do I make up for the loss of, the other two operation? That's they do millions of dollars, right? So what do I do there? Then I started to think about it. What do I do if I ever want to have peace and take a rest and live slowly, have a meaningful life? Those kind of questions started to perk up because I was so busy. I was numb because my time is all spent by other people, but I lost myself. And so I was all of a sudden, because of them, because of wife, because the question of having a kids, and I need to have time, room for kids. And how do I do that? And that's like a whole new equation or question that I never thought I should solve or learn how to solve. Everything is about growing, everything is about learning, everything about skill set, everything about business expansion. Never once I put the mindset. And so they said, where you put your intention and focus art, that's where it grows.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's the first time where, I'm at the stage where, okay, I'm trying out a lot of new business entities, ideas, and I have a lot of failures at it, but I have a lot of wisdom and learning and insights. But I am still like on the inside, like not feeling right, not knowing where my North Star, not knowing my mission, not knowing my purpose. That's when all of a sudden, I met your Boom Vision episode through this FB post by your cousin. And I took a dab at it. I just listened and I was hooked. And this is like 3 a.m. I'm listening to your stuff. And I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
and I was froze. I was like, holy, this is that I need. And it answered a lot of things that it doesn't feel right, but I don't know why,
Mm.
And because like intuition, instinct, those vocabulary do not exist at the time, at that moment, do not exist in my world.
Mm.
So everything is about numbers, it's about profits, it's about growth, it's about building teams, finding partners, but it's none of that. Like
Yeah.
it's like, what about my feeling? What about my, I guess, soul GPS? I
Right.
don't have any of it, and that's where we connect. And
Mm-hmm.
I am so blessed that I found you and have you as my coach. The coach in a way and on two parts. One is as a personal on the deeper level that helped me find my higher self, purpose, vision. And that's the guiding star that now I have clarity and transparency with my business operation where I'm heading out to. Whereas before, I am lost because there's a lot of options and I don't know who to cut, how to cut it. And I was a lot of messy crossroads. And there's nobody around me that I can discuss, have this high scope of intellectual conversation with. And I think that's where you and what you bring is so powerful. Of course, we can discuss the business aspect. You have full capacity in that regard. But what I really need is the step before that. And thank you for helping me find and define myself and have clarity and right now have peace at it.
Mickey, thank you, first of all, for being so authentic and transparent in terms of your life journey, because just listening to your story again, but also just more nuances of the details you shared. I mean, there's a lot that you went through because of the childhood experiences. You had a house, but it just didn't feel like home. And the environment that you had growing up in junior high and high school when you moved over into the States is that you had such restrictions on your outer reality that it's almost like you were led to this path of imagination as your refuge to be able to just bring some sanity of what you were kind of going through emotionally, internally. And when you found that and you realized you can get really good at that, like you just went all in and then some, right? Like you just, dedicated, and you had that passion and that burning desire to just really not just excel, but elevate yourself in an immersion of this art of imagination. And one of the takeaways I got, and I would say this is probably one of your superpowers, is having that such dedicated focus. And in this case, in the art world, in imagination, and in creation. What was very fascinating when we first reconnected a couple months ago was that, wow, in the last like 2 decades, you went from artist to then diving into the world of business and really understanding, oh my God, it's all about processes and building teams and KPIs and P&L and all of these things. And you were forced to be in that driver's seat when you are an entrepreneur, when you are a CEO and you're running these companies. But it's almost like the pendulum swung all the way to the opposite end, because then through that, from what we were sharing before, is that it's almost like when you're so immersed in that business world, it sort of kills a little bit that creativity that you had in you that before when you were an artist, right?
Yeah, I have to sadly to say that I haven't really picked up a pen and draw for about 10 years.
Wow.
And I recall, and I really had to appreciate that introduced me to Jonathan and Bridget.
Yeah.
And I went to a session, and during the session, as they're opening up myself, that I have at one time, my hands are really numb, like I couldn't feel it. And as we're doing the inner discovery on a really, really so deep level, and there it came. My hand is shouting out, use me.
Wow. And by the way, I just have to say, I'm trying to keep the show PG, so I'm gonna have to beep that out later on anyway. So don't worry,
No
I'm just
problem.
fully express yourself, but just want to share for my audience.
Yeah,
I'm trying to keep it PG. But that's amazing because it's almost like for the first time, your soul's reaching out saying, I want to be heard. I want to express, right?
Imagine a tool with 40,000 hours plus of crafting this tool, and you seal and jail and lock up your tool, and you went the drive on this other fancy materialized car, and you've long forgotten your best friend and something you cherish.
Oh.
And that guy finally through the session was released, at least the notes, the memo, the message reached out. And that's when I had also realization that no wonder a lot of these business projects just don't feel right. The gut instinct didn't feel
Mm,
right because my hand is signaling stuff to me that I don't acknowledge, don't
mm,
realize, don't hear him or her or it. And now I do. And that's part of the clarity that
yeah.
you guys have brought to my life.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you for sharing that and saying that. Just to fill in my audience on who Jonathan and Bridget is. So Jonathan Liu was who I interviewed in the episode where we talked about emotions, and his wife Bridget, who I am going to invite also to the show because she's also a very, very powerful and skilled energy worker, but also has her own expertise as well. That would be diving into some pretty interesting topics when she comes on. One of the disclosure I also wanted to share with my audience is that, when we first reconnected, I mean, we knew each other back in junior high and high school. I just remember playing basketball with you, right?
Yes,
And that
we're
was
in the
back in the
same
days.
basketball team.
Yeah, but what happened was, after graduating high school, we kind of went our different ways, and I haven't spoken to you for like literally 20 some years.
So we have pretty much 2 decades we haven't seen each other. And the last thing I recall was that I still enjoy basketball, but your interest from the sport changed to volleyball.
That's right.
And that's I think that's the path that kind of got us to, to have a different journey.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
I think I recall that. And you still like you were like invite, hey Mickey, come over play volleyball. I was like, no, I want to stick to basketball. You know,
Yeah. No, it's funny you say that because that's right. Because I enjoyed both sports. When I realized me personally, where I excelled at, I was a scrawny, skinny kid. And in basketball, because I didn't weigh as much back then, I jumped high, but I was so easily boxed out. But in volleyball, it's like I'm staying on my own side. I can, jumping high is actually a really good benefit an asset, and I just felt like that was a sport better suited for my body type, right? But yeah, no, we haven't spoken to for in over 2 decades, and then you reached out, and just through one or two, just conversations, I was like, hey, I think there might be something I can help you out with, and I appreciate you having faith in me and just giving it a try and just being curious. And, full disclosure also to my audience, I mean, you are one of my clients that I've been working on a weekly basis on. And in the past 2 months, I mean, it's such a joy to work with you, Mickey, because of your focus and when you have that burning desire and your curiosity to always level up, to, that hunger to always evolve and willing to do the work. I mean, that makes such a world of difference. And I would say, initially my impression was that, okay, you have the drive, absolutely have the drive. The question is, where do you want to drive to? What's that
yes.
direction, right? And I felt that might have been one of your struggles. Aside from direction, you're talking about finding your true north. Was there anything else also immediate you felt that you struggled with, or even when we started initially working out, other things popped up where you feel like, okay, this is something I want to work on?
Yeah, I think I would like to be really frank and candid to share with your audience that I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. But because we do have this, middle school, high school bond decades ago, 2 decades ago actually, that there's actually a lot of trust, and
Mm,
I am really willing to open,
mm,
like 100% transparent, open, to show the vulnerability, to show the times where I would be crying. These are kind of topics that guys don't talk about. We would
mhm,
talk about sport
mhm.
at the bar, but we don't chat about these sensitive topics usually.
Right.
And I think, I guess, I supposedly, we had a Zoom call, but through your voice and through your body language, I actually felt welcome to open up and comfortable and safe to open myself up. And I think that's the first thing, if for the audience, like if anybody would want to start using Boom Vision to help on multiple levels, I think the first thing is for me, I already could imagine if I am 10% like just slight shot or something, I will not get the same result, and I will not get where I wanted to be. And so I think, first of all, be open up, be 100%, be transparent, be honest. The integrity in everything that I speak out, I think that's very important. And because of that, you somehow you actually feel the words. For me, you're very sensitive words. You're sensitive to the energy behind the words, and even more sensitive to certain hidden story behind the word. I don't know how you know. You're wizardly at it. I don't know how you know. But once you are helping me dive in more and more, and a lot of questions that I do ask myself on the surface level. It's like you're looking at the Iceland. We're looking at the tip of the iceberg. But this massive ice underneath. And there's layers and layers and layers of it. Also kind of like an onion, right? I feel like Boom Vision and your procedures are helping me peeling. I myself maybe have the ability to peel maybe 2 layers of the onion, but not everything underneath. And I believe, the honesty, I'm presenting you like the wholeness of the onion. And then through Boom Vision, the process and all these weekly sessions, that you are not only solving business problem that I had, but personal problem, a confusion that I had. And I think that's like, oh my God, that's gold. Words couldn't even express what that meant to me. And I believe for any entrepreneurs, anybody who is a boss or runs a company or multiple company, anybody who has high stakes, is really couldn't get like solid sleep because there's so much burden, so much baggage over the shoulders. Yes, I believe 100% recommend that Boom Vision will help you as it did help for me. And I am really like a different person now. My wife says it, my mom consents it. Yeah, and it's all because of Boom Vision. It's really a transformative, I would say, pipeline, procedure, processes. I don't want to say processes sound business. It's not.
It's a journey. It's a journey.
Right.
It really is, because and thank you for sharing that, Mickey, because it's, for me, I'm just here to facilitate. And it really takes like I said, it really takes the person to have that burning desire and wanting to change, because maybe what they've done before just wasn't getting the results they needed. And also that curiosity and being open-minded. Because, I would say also that I'm not necessarily for everyone, because people are just looking to buy a framework to try to implement, to, grow to 7 figures, 8 figures, whatever, their goal might be. It's not as easy as just throwing money in a solution and they'll fix it, because it's all within you. I'm just more sharing and really, use the analogy of peeling the onion. Yeah, it's multidimensional in this sense, where it's like, okay, what's really at the core of what's driving you? Because you clearly have the drive, but is it the right fuel? Is it the right direction? Right? It's other things where you might not necessarily think of it in that context. But I love to just ask too, in your personal journey in that transformations, were there any key moments or any of those aha moments that happened for you that you felt like, wow, that was an inflection point?
Definitely, there's actually quite a few actually. One is help me hear this really, really tiny noise, or that's actually a voice. See, noise is something your ear, your mentally just kind of disregard and throw it out. Like you hear it, but you don't process it because it's not as of importance. But what if it is important to you as a whole, as a human being? It helps you complete you. But for the longest time, you just didn't have the right train of thought or perspective to turn that voice and translate it or magnify it so that it become value that you've forgotten and become a message that some part of your maybe body, some part within you that is signaling so hard for years, maybe years. And for me, it is years. And that's crucial because without that, and the first time aha moment is when I realized, oh my God, how can I overlook this signal? And that's my
Yeah.
moment.
Going back to what Jonathan shared in our interview is that we all have four bodies, right? We have our physical body, we have our mind body where our conscious mind resides. We have our heart body where our emotions resides. And then right below that, where our gut is, that's where our soul body, or where our intuition is, what I call the soul GPS. And it kind of goes in that order, right? Most people stay in the first and second body, the physical and the mind body. But if have your emotions been just flowing freely, or has it been suppressed? Has it been locked up in this tiny room, in this tiny house away from a different country that you just don't want to think about, right? You just don't want to revisit. Have you been suppressing that? Or has it been flowing? Because if it is flowing, then those little, you're saying noise, those signals, those little cues that your intuition, your soul is trying to communicate to you, that could be drowned out from the noise of your emotions that you just haven't been going freely, right? But if you're able to start distinguishing what that signals are and be able to lean in and trust it, man, I mean, just, I think I've shared with you in my sessions, but my observations in working with millionaires, billionaires, it's the ones that really excel. Yes, they have a burning desire, but I would say one of their secret sauce, their superpower, is that they had strong intuition. They might not communicate in a way that I do in this boom vision paradigm, but they had strong intuition, and they've honed through that decades of it, and they had that gut feeling. But I just haven't heard someone articulate in a way, well, how do you access that superpower? How do you strengthen it? You can't just go directly to it, right? It's a journey, and there's either steps or however you want to call it. And that's why I really appreciate the fact that, when I share these principles, these core pillars, that it resonates with you. And plus, when it resonates, it makes it easier for me because it's like, okay, great. Because when we're working, we can dive right in. We don't even have to spend time explaining these terminologies because it's that just scratches the surface, but that lends a common language for us to communicate, a new language that we can communicate. And then from our work together, I just felt that, wow, okay, you're starting to ask different questions. Because when you start asking yourself different questions without even for me to ask it, but just also just kind of point you in that direction, different questions spark different curiosities, sparks different type of train of thought, right? And a new possibility kind of comes up.
Right.
One of the things I would love for you to share with our audience is that, what's the new path forward now versus what it was before? Like, what would you say your default future would have been had we not connected a couple of months ago and started working versus what's really changed now, whether it's business, whether it's life, or really all the above?
Wow. I really would keep iterating that I'm a new person. I'm literally feeling like I'm living the second life. Like there is the old Mickey,
Wow.
there's the new Mickey. And so the mindset right now is very different. So I view family differently. I treat it differently. My actions are different, right? And business, whereas I have a lot of self-doubt, procrastinate, of course we all do, but there's I would say a lot less of it, like 80% of it's out the door. I wouldn't say, just complete. It's I would be full of myself, but and there's a lot of courage and daring to transform my current business and completely pivot, invest into the future. In which before I met you, I've thought about it for 3-4 years, but I never made a move. But now I am doing it. And all thanks because I have different set of lens. I am asking not business questions, but life to business questions. That's way better, bigger scope and reach to the core essence. And when that does, a lot of things that you were troubled about, those problems disappear. And the new set of problems, you have the courage to tackle them, take them down one by one slowly, because you have all the training of the years, right? All these years of training, you know how to tackle it. But rather than doing things, I am more afraid of putting all the efforts in the wrong direction. The waste of efforts, years of efforts into the wrong direction. And that's where the crossroad is. And that's where Boom Vision and they transform me, have clarity, have the courage, and have the solid execution that I can move forward a lot more comfortable than the old Mickey. I will probably be stuck there, wondering this could be that, maybe this and that, and still no action. That's really, really huge. I am moving to new territory, but not afraid and full of energy.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, because I think the one word really sticks out is courage. And I could sense the energy when we talk too, that there's an energy shift within you and how you're talking about situations, how you're talking about family, how you're talking about your employees. What would you say would be, is there any action steps you can share with the audience on how can they build up their courage?
I think it's really, truly look yourself in the mirror with nobody around and welcome and say okay to all your weakness, all the parts of you that you do not like, that you even hate, but with open arms and welcome it because it is part of you and there's no need to have hate and no need to compare with yourself because we are all in this world with a special purpose and we are all unique in our own ways. And so I just see that once you know yourself and you have a really, I guess, true inner conversation with yourself, then you're not lying to yourself. And I was lying to myself many, many times. And there's a facade of, I could be this, I could be that. But the reason why I don't have the courage to go forward because I am putting up that facade, that mask, and I'm not being true to myself. And therefore, I do not have the courage to move on. But now I move on with courage because I know, yes, I'm not in my head saying, yes, I'm moving the direction. I'm afraid into the unknown, into the thick fog, into the dark tunnel. Yet I know things will be okay because I have my soul GPS and I know all my weaknesses. It's okay. And I still hug myself, pat my shoulder, and know that I will be okay moving forward. And that's huge. So I think for the audience, for everybody, is that, yes, don't think about the stakes are high. Don't think if you're going to lose anything, but know yourself and try to be comfortable with the best part of yourself and the worst part of yourself and own the whole spectrum of yourself, to know it and to own it. And then you could move forward freely without a lot of weight like I once had.
That is so powerful, Mickey, because it reminds me of the quote I shared before, which is that embrace who you are, but embody who you want to become. Embrace who you are, but embody who you want to become, because who you are, the light and darkness in you, you are who you are, and and don't be afraid of it. Don't be ashamed of it, right? Like it's just, it is what it is, and sooner you can reclaim that power. Well, it doesn't mean you're going to stop improving, but you just have to have that imagination and those feelings and to understand what is it that you want to embody with a growth mindset is a very powerful thing if it's put in the right direction. And the other thing I want to just also elaborate is that introducing the new language of a soul GPS, I love that word because I'm very directional and three-dimensional when I imagine things.
Right.
And so, you think of a GPS system in your car or, using like, Waze app on your phone. The thing about a soul GPS though is that it's not just only that term that people just have an aha. The thing I really help people understand is that's just a language of what's in your fourth body, in your soul body, right? I'm just calling it soul GPS. But you have to be able to feel the vision you want to live into, the vision of what you want to embody, the direction of where you want to be in 6 to 12 months from now. When you visualize it, when you expand your imagination, but you don't skip the third step, you feel it.
Right.
That's when you're entering the coordinates, your address into your soul GPS. And then when you enter those coordinates, it's like, okay, I have a direction. This is where I want to go. Now just take me there. I'm going to do my daily actions and strive and with that burning desire to do it. but now I have this direction that my soul's going to take me towards, and I just have to be able to listen to those cues when I'm veering off course, right?
Absolutely.
And since we kind of dive into this topic too, I mean, this is something that I did this exercise with you, which is a division board, but really that 4 steps of manifestation, right? And I just
Mm.
wanted to share it as, we're talking about action steps that our audience can take away. The 4 steps I was saying about manifestation is you have to have a burning desire for what you want. So, and you clearly have that. You have that drive. So that's not an issue. So it might be for some folks, but you have to have just whatever it is that you want, you have to have a burning desire. Number 2 is you have to be able to visualize it. And that's where the whole discipline of exercising your imagination. You don't want your sandbox to be imagined only in an 8.5 by 11 paper, right? Right?
Right.
Imagine a canvas is the whole world. Imagine a
Yeah.
canvas is the whole universe. If you could be expansive in that, then there's so many more possibilities that could come in rather than just 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, right? So you have to be able to visualize what it is. But then before you start taking action, because people write it down, they journal, they see, okay, got it. That's where I want to go. Now just go. Do. Hustle, 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 right? Wait. Slow down. Did you spend the time as you're visualizing it? Do you feel it? Do you feel what it feels like in that moment, being in that situation that you're visualizing in? How does that make your body feel? Where does it make you feel? Does it make you feel warm in your heart? Does it make you feel warm in your head? Do you have the sensation kind of coming on you in a body, like being able to pay attention to that and then noting it? That's the actual act of entering the coordinates in your soul GPS before you start go and start taking those actions, right? A lot of people tend to skip that 3rd step, and I think the exercise that we did with the vision board is to do that. And when you do, you start understanding, oh, that's the noise, that's the communication that my soul is trying to communicate with me. Okay, if that's the area of my body that's saying, okay, noted. So next time it does that, does it resonate? Does it harmonize in that area or not? Or I'm just not getting it at all. Maybe that's just telling you you're probably veering off course.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the 4 steps for me, I never had the 3rd step. How am I feeling about my desire and imagining it to be a reality, but how am I feeling about it? And I just went straight to the logic base. Okay, this is all the steps you need to do this and that and get it done. But what do I feel about it? I never thought about it and never had that. But once that's placed in, it all makes sense because, it doesn't feel right. My gut instinct said I shouldn't pursue that path, or that's for the wrong reason because it's contradicting to my mission and purpose in life.
Right.
Now things are a lot clearer, and I can verbally explain to the people around me, the close ones, the loved ones. And that's a great, I wouldn't say boundary, but it's just a great multitude of dimension in which a lot of topics about life, family, business, any little thing, kids raising and stuff like that, through this boundary that I'm building, it's like a mutual ground, and that's very solid. And they can see it, and they can hear it, and they can see my action all fit in. Instead of this person that they thought I'm sort of like this, but I switch around, change around, and because I don't know who I am. And so, yeah, that's why I said, this is the new Mickey, new person. Yeah, and really, really, words can't say, how I feel.
Awesome. So in this new Mickey 2.0 version, I shared earlier about my favorite quote, which is embrace who you are, but embody who you want to become. Do you have a favorite quote that you've heard in a past life that just had a really tremendous impact on you and that carries you kind of going forward?
Yes, I would say in 2 parts. One is during my hardworking days, there was this motto that my friend Hong injected into me, becomes my bone and my DNA, is work hard and everything else will follow. Now, I take that to heart. That's why I work like a maniac. But now I want to add to that is work hard, everything else will follow, alongside with your guiding principle, which is your soul GPS, your purpose and your mission in life. Then that completes it. because all your effort, your hard work is not in the wrong direction, not in the wrong path.
Yeah.
It's a summary of my, first 10 years or 15 years and now.
No, I feel that. I feel the energy of those words, Mickey, because yeah, no, I've been in those situations where it's like I was so tired of running 5 miles in the opposite direction when I should have been taking one step in the right direction. Right?
Right.
There's so much energy you're putting into, but if you're just going in the wrong direction, then sure, you can say you've been exercising how to be fit, but that's a lot of wasted energy to, I wouldn't say waste because you always learn from everything. So I shouldn't say
perfect.
waste, but it's very special to be intentional on what you're doing, what you say, and where you want to go. And when you spend that attention to your intentions, then beautiful things start happening.
Yeah,
Right.
it becomes, your dream become reality. You
Yeah.
manifest it. Yeah, it's that's
For
what I
sure.
feel like right now. Like I could touch what I imagined.
That's so awesome.
It's really awesome.
So, Mickey, one question I always ask my guests is that if there was a time machine, if the DeLorean was real, if you had a time machine where you can travel back 10 years ago and you could tell yourself one thing, what would you share to your younger self?
I would say, it sounds really odd or weird, but love everybody, love yourself, and help out people as much as you can. Because being logic-based brain, it's always about me growing, me being better, me. And it was really one-sided, one-way train in a way. And so I was missing so much beautiful things, with people, building relationships and to serve others. That we always have a slot of time we can spend that time and to help more people. I think the world will be a better place. And I would tell myself that don't be selfish, love everybody, and just help out as much as you can.
That is very warm. I'll say too, just reconnecting with you, Mickey, and knowing you, you also get that fulfillment when you do help others because you've helped 50 to almost like 100 different aspiring entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And when you do that, and you're very also careful in that, okay, who you help also has the right intentions. It's not just someone that's.
Oh, right. Yes.
Right.
I only want to help those that always have good heart, good deed, good intention, and willingness to share knowledge and teach or help others.
Right.
Because me helping this one person, they become bigger or more capable. They will take more people under their wing. I believe the society will be a better place. Just us helping each other out and become the full force moving forward. And one person at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. Props to you for not only putting in the initiative, but your time and energy to create those ripples, to create those wave makers, right? The future wave makers of their own respective industries, but also in their life and the people they touch, right? So,
yes.
Wow, Mickey, I really appreciate your time today. It's so beautiful for me to just observe kind of the transformation that I see you've gone through in the last couple of months. But then that's one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you on the show is because I've really not only just witnessed that personally, but I just felt that your story and the ups and downs, and we all have our ups and downs, but what things that you've gone through has almost in some kind of weird sense kind of came in full circle a little bit. Right? And kind of how
it is full circle,
we
yes.
learn. For our audience, where can they find you?
Well, unfortunately, I do have a YouTube channel called Dreams Pearl Bloomer, and you could reach me at dreamsbloomer@gmail.com. If you have any questions about, entrepreneurship, startup, how to create ideas into reality, I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Through my 2 decades of experience in helping countless of people start their projects and run it, franchise it, license it, all sorts of fun things. And so if you are, needing help in that regard, yeah, please don't be shy and shoot an email out and I'll be happy to help. But I would also like to say that first get to Coach Ben and work out Boom Vision because none of that matters if you don't figure out and have clarity with your life mission and purpose. And so, yeah, that's my
Got
2
it.
cents.
Thanks for adding that. And just for our audience too, I'll include all your information in our show notes as well. So when people can want to reach out to you, they'll have that. Not a problem. But Mickey, thank you so much for your time today. I'm very blessed to be able to reconnect with you. I'm really happy you reached out and and started this new journey together. And I also look forward to what other new possibilities we can create today too. So thank you very much, Mickey.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And love all you guys. Just be the best you can.
Folks, I hope you enjoyed today's interview with Mickey Liu. There's quite a few takeaways I got from today's conversation. The top 3 are 1, Mickey's childhood experiences led him to exercise and master his imagination muscle, which started off as a refuge but became his extraordinary gift. 2, throughout multiple chapters in his career, Mickey experienced both the ups of successful exits and high-profile projects to the lows of closing shop and depression. But the one through line I heard repeatedly throughout Mickey's life is that he never stopped investing and reinvesting in himself. His thirst for growth through his lens of curiosity helped him ride each tidal wave that came crashing towards his direction. The third takeaway I got was his revelation on how he built up his courage. The reason why he previously did not have the courage to move forward was that he was putting up a facade, a mask, and he was not true to himself. How he built up his courage was when he fully embraced all of his strengths and weaknesses with open arms. The final takeaway I'd like to share is this. No matter where you are in life, I pray that you discover your unique true north. You have a gift, and the sooner you can start listening and picking up the signals that your soul GPS is communicating to you, you will get a better sense and have an inner knowing of where you are heading towards. Your purpose is not a final destination. It's a journey. Surround yourself with people that make you feel fulfilled as you move forward in your journey. You've got this. Until next time, folks, be kind to yourself, be in the light, be you. Thank you so much for tuning in to my Boom Vision podcast. If you'd like to find out more about me and this podcast, head over to benjaminyeh.com. That's spelled BenjaminYeh.com. If you haven't already, click subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.